has time to get here. Appreciate everybody being here tonight. I will chair this to get it started tonight and kind of go over the things that the commission was asking this committee to do, and then we'll elect officers for this committee. Then your new chairman, y'all can get into discussions such as how often you want to meet, when, even where. We wish you would meet here simply because we have the sound system and we can record it and things of that nature. So we like to try to have all of our committee meetings here. But it's strictly going to be up to you guys to decide how often you want to meet, whether you want to meet monthly, every 2 weeks, weekly, whatever, until you can complete the tasks that you're kind of charged with doing. And we'll record. We will get into those in just a minute. Can anybody give us an update on David while we're waiting? I know he's been pretty ill this week.
Right. David is still in the hospital at the VA in Nashville. You may have seen his post. He has some some fluid on his lungs and heart. They're draining that, but he thinks he's going to be in for a couple weeks at least.
Certainly, if anyone talks to him or the family, send our love and concern, and that we will absolutely keep him in our prayers. I did talk with Dr. Painter. He had planned to be here tonight and something came up and he couldn't be here tonight, but he absolutely is dedicated to wanting to be on the committee and serve on the committee. And he sends his apologies. Dave Trainey, I've left messages numerous times. I haven't had a response. So that's kind of who I'm waiting for to see if he does show up, because I left him messages at 7 o'clock. If anyone has an email for him, that would be very helpful. I do not have an email. So if anyone has an email for him, that would be very helpful. Well, he may be. I got, answer machine, voicemail type thing and left messages. But I think typically it's better for us to all kind of communicate with emails, as far as being able to send out agendas and any thing that would go with that. Does anyone know whether Rebecca was planning on being here tonight? Mayor, do you know?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
We weren't able to have the first time in the county because we shut down because of the snow, so I don't believe she's going to be here tonight.
Okay. Okay. Give it about another minute and we'll get started. If you don't mind, I would like us to, on our agenda, to change 2 to 3 and 3 to 2. I'd like for us to get into the review the purpose of the committee before we actually get into electing officers for the committee, if that's okay. Did everyone pick up over on the table copy of the agenda, and on the back it has the resolution that we passed for the purpose of what we're doing? Should be laying over there where you signed in if you didn't get it. Let's go ahead and get started. I think we're close enough to 7 o'clock to do that. I'd like to call this committee meeting of the Veteran Services Special Committee to order. You do have an agenda before you. The committee consists of Commissioner Walsh, Commissioner Russell, Commissioner Davis, also Dave Traney, Bill Painter, Nathan Vaughn, and David Chambers. And the two commanders, if they can also designate someone in their stead if they see they're not able to do this, it'd be fine for them to send somebody. And certainly we would like any veterans or anyone in the community that has interest in what we're talking about to be here. And we appreciate all that are here and show interest in this. The purpose of this committee is, as you may know, Ms. Russell was our Veteran Services Officer for some time, and she had to let that go. And we certainly appreciate her service in that aspect. She really was an asset to the community. And I think the commission, in light of that, feel like that we don't want to lose that office. We would like to try to see it stay. I know, I'm sure that the mayor feels the same way, that it's a necessary part of our government that's very much needed. What we would like for this committee to do is to kind of study and analyze the overall need that we have in the community for a veteran service office and a veteran service officer or representative. We know we don't have a large veterans community because of the size of our community in our county, but we do know that we have people in need of these services. One of the issues that we've had, and one thing we'd like to task you with doing, is we get conflicting numbers as to how many veterans we even have. You know, Veterans Administration will tell us one thing, the state will tell us something else. And we're really would like to have a little bit more confidence in the number of veterans that we're talking about servicing in our county, number one. Also, staffing, making staffing recommendations, not necessarily who to hire, but necessarily whether we think possibly this can be covered from some other county coming over here, much like the MOU that we put together with Sumner County. That may be our very best option. But if it is, it needs to be a little bit more clearly defined as to how many days a week do we think that person would need to come, or anyone, if we have someone, whether it be 5 days a week, 2 days a week, 1 day a month, whatever. So we're kind of looking at not just whether, but how much. Also, it would be helpful to us that are not veterans or familiar with veterans issues to have kind of a list of some of the services that would be provided. What are some of the normal services? What would this person be doing? Not necessarily a job description as much as what they would be doing, you know, what services they would be providing. And what your recommendations be that would be provided, you know. Once some of those things are kind of decided, or you come to an agreement on a recommendation on those, might even delve into recommendations as to expected costs, you know, how much we should expect to pay a person in this capacity or persons. So that's some of the tasks I think that we were looking at. We appreciate, you know, the mayor putting together an MOU with Sumner County. This was kind of in the works before that ever got put together. So this is not necessarily, and I don't want anybody to think this is a reaction to what he did in that this was already in works. I serve on the Veterans Committee for the County Commissions Association and have been very involved with veterans issues at the state level as far as some of the legislation that's coming down the path, coming down the pipeline, hopefully. And what I've seen in my service with that is there's been a lot of veterans bills and a lot of money coming toward veterans that have never been there before. And we've got a climate, at least in the state of Tennessee, of wanting to take care of our veterans. And we certainly want to show that same climate in our county. And we certainly appreciate everyone for all their service. I serve as the Selective Service Board Chairman for our county. I've done that for 15 years now. That's one of those non-paying jobs that people don't know I have. So I am sensitive to veterans issues, probably more than most. I'm not a veteran. I did not serve. I have a lot of family that have served, and I'm very proud of all of them and for their service and for all of y'all as well. So that's basically what we are looking at as the commission, or why this committee was put together. You have no authority to do anything other than make a recommendation to us. You cannot enter into contracts. You cannot obligate the county in any way. You're strictly a recommending body to gather information and come back to us and give us a report. Now, whether that's in a month, a week, 3 months, that's kind of up to y'all. I think we envision this probably taking 4 or 5 meetings for y'all to put this together, and a little time and lead work to come up with maybe some of these facts and figures. You will be paid for your service at the regular committee rate if you so desire to be paid. If you don't care to be, then certainly you don't have to take it. If you would like to, you will need to go by the administrative office and fill out the paperwork to be able to get a check. What's it called? A W?
Yeah, fill out the W-2.
Yeah, so you can, get paid. And if you want to do that, just stop in there at the administration office. Of course, the commissioners, it's just like any other committee, so you don't have to do that. But
yeah, it'd be W-4, W-2.
Whatever it is.
They were working on W-2s at the office today, so that stuck in my head.
Yeah, but they will take care of you there. I think that's like $43, $42. I don't even know. I get a check and I just put it in the bank. Are there any questions from y'all before we go on to election of officers about any of this? Does everybody understand the what and why and what we're asking you to do? Mr. Davis? Amber? Okay. Yes, sir.
Just a quick question. As far as reaching out to the community, are we able to do that, or is that outside our jurisdiction?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
No, this is nothing secret, nothing private. If you want to ask someone to come in to give input to your committee, certainly welcome them. If they want to be in on the process and come and watch, that's fine. We're trying to keep our committees relatively small. This is a 7-member committee. Myself, I serve on all committees, so you might say it's 8. Of course, the mayor typically is part of these as well. So I think between the people that are involved, y'all have the knowledge and the background of veterans issues, and who better to tell us what we need than you guys. So that's why you're here. That's why you were chosen. The 3 members of the commission are all veterans. They're very familiar with Veterans Affairs. The 2 other people that I asked have been very involved in veterans activities in our county, Dr. Bill Painter and Dave Trainey. And they both very readily said they wanted to be involved. They, certainly couldn't be here tonight, but we're really not conducting a lot of business tonight other than just organizational type stuff. Any other questions? Gary? Any questions? Okay. Okay. All right, then we'll move on to the election of officers. I'd open the floor for committee chairman. I have a nomination for committee chairman. Mr. Davis, you recognize?
Yeah, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Walsh.
You have a nomination for Commissioner Walsh as chairman. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Ms. Russell?
I was going to second him.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Have a motion and a second for Mr. Walsh. Are there any other nominations? Hearing no other nominations, Mr. Walsh, will you accept the chair? Okay. Vice chair. Floor is open for nominations. Nate?
I'd like to nominate myself.
I was going to nominate him. I was just trying to find out what his name was. It's Nate. It's Nate. Nate. I nominate Mr. Nate.
Okay. Nathaniel Vaughn. Okay. Nathaniel Vaughn has been nominated. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Ms. Russell gets a second. Okay. Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none. Mr. Vaughn, will you accept vice chair? Yes, sir. Thank you. We do need a secretary to keep notes and minutes and things. Mr. Walsh.
Nominate Commissioner Russell.
Okay. Have a nomination for Commissioner Russell.
And a second.
And a second. We do have a motion and a second for Ms. Russell. Ms. Russell, will you accept those duties? Are there any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Hearing none. I guess, Ms. Russell, you're going to be our secretary. Okay, that is all of our officers. Certainly appreciate everyone being willing to serve. And if you have any questions about that, main thing, the chairman, you will be contacted from him more than from myself or the mayor or anyone like that. They will decide when we have meetings and things of that nature. And y'all can talk about that some under discussion. Mr. Walsh, do you want to go ahead and assume the chair, or do you want me to finish up tonight?
Go ahead and finish up, but I'll say some comments from here as we get to it.
Okay. Y'all, just what y'all want to talk about? Anything that you got to discuss tonight? When, I guess, go ahead. You just go ahead from there.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take the chair then. I guess what we need to do is, right now this is new. We're trying to figure out what we really need. He went over some of the subject matter. What I would suggest is on Thursday, February 3rd, we have another meeting at 6. The list that Chairman Jewell said was, what are the needs for a veteran service officer? The number of vets in the county, same thing. I was told as a commander to VFW had like 764, then I've heard 431, then I've heard all these numbers. I got no idea how many veterans in this. I don't think anybody really does. See if we can come up with a way to where we can try to find that out, because the state has different numbers every time you talk to them. I don't know if we can outreach and get people to let us know if they're a veteran, and then would everybody who's a veteran really do that? I don't know. But I guess one way of looking at it, if they don't take the time to let us know they're a veteran in the county, are they really going to need any services? That's one of the things. Do we have a copy of the MOU from Sumner County?
Yes, we have a copy of it, and if we don't have your email address, if you could stop by and give it to Miss Russell, she has it for the secretary, and give it to myself and make sure everybody gets a copy of it.
What I'd like to do with that being said, if everybody can get their name, their phone number, and an email address, so we can have that, so I can send a blast out to everybody. And you'll also have mine, to where any questions we need to do, or you come up with something that we need to plan for on the agenda. Again, the list of services needed. Amber, you will probably know a lot of that from the time you spent as the veteran service officer. So that'll help out a lot. If you can bring like a list of that. Okay. The job description of the veteran service officer, we kind of probably need to do that and structure that, because if we do have one and we fund one, we want them to do what we, the county, and the veterans and the citizens want them to do. It gives them kind of a guidance. So that's important, I think. And of course, the cost analysis of what it's going to cost to have the VSO, not only their salary, but also any type of admin charges, locations, whether it's back down here where Ms. Russell was before. We have to look at that too. So basically what I would task everybody to do, as a veteran, you know what's important, what you think people would need, what you would need as a veteran. Try to bring all that information to us on the 3rd at 6 p.m. That way we can start and try to get a game plan of how we want to attack this, how we want to figure this out. And if anybody's got any suggestions, let me know. If something else we need to do to that.
I was just going to ask, back to the very first bullet point, trying to figure out how many veterans in the area. I think you was hitting right on what I was thinking too. Okay, how do we get that number? You know, is there a way that we can utilize whatever, the social media or the paper, and be able to explain, hey, we're not asking for anything. We're just trying to find out who's in the area. I have no idea.
Well, I would say that number is always going to be fluid. I buried one yesterday. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Full military honors, sure. Bagpipes, the whole 9 yards. Sure. Okay. He was a Travis County veteran. Right. Okay. So it's fluid. You got people coming out of the service, you got people dying, but it's such a wide disparity that I think we can probably come up with a, you know, hopefully come up with a better number than what we've had.
Okay, so once upon a time, the DD-214s were given to the counties where the person resided. You can still find some of them. You can still find some of them, but not many. And a lot of those people died. I do know that there's one veteran at Pineview. I do know that there are 30 guards out to the jail that are veterans. I know that there's 40 jail inmates that are veterans. And the reason why that number is important is because the veteran service officer will go out there to the jail with the reintegration officer, and they'll go through kind of some of the things that they'll be facing whenever they go back out into the community. I have to get in touch with the assisted living and the convalescent center now to see how many veterans, or the really, you're going to get the widows of the veterans there, and sometimes the veterans. Otherwise, the veterans, I have one that I placed out to the VA home in Murfreesboro. But honestly, if it's very, 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 very difficult to say for sure how many veterans are in the community, because a lot of veterans don't want to be found. I can know that somebody is a veteran and they're going to deny it, you know, all day. And that's absolutely their right to do. So that number is going to be hard. I mean, for sure.
And I know from being the commander of the VFW before, and Dan, you probably know this too, there's members of the VFW American Legion that don't want to participate, don't want to do anything. They just want to stay a member till the day they die. And again, they don't want anything to do with any type of veteran stuff. The need's not there, or the want's not there, or their life is just taking them past worrying about that anymore. And so, like Mr. Jewell said, that number is going to be fluid, but there's like a 300 veteran gap of numbers in the numbers that always been reported to me as a commander of VFW. It's just like ridiculous. And again, it's going to change, but the big thing is to get the word out in the community, what we do, that it's available. And if it's not here in this county, if we got an MOU, which we'll have to pay for that too, partially. I think we are right now still anyway, where to go. A lot of veterans I've talked to, they're going all the way to Cumberland County or Cookville, wherever that, Putnam County, and they're seeing a VSO way out there. I don't know why. Or they're seeing veteran service officers that are in the VA hospitals. Yes.
sorry, or they are, wherever they're getting their services at, the different VAs, they're seeing the veteran service officer there so that they can go ahead and file it. So they're not coming back home
Right.
With that, because all their paperwork and everything that they're having done is right there at that person's fingertips.
And I know also before you were the VSO, we'd go up to Macon County, but the citizens of Macon County kind of threw a fit that they're paying that person out of the Macon County funds to be a VSO, but giving services to Trousdale County residents. So that posed a problem up there. And then we want to try to, guess what the MOU's for. Wilson County, they have great VSO. Sumner County's got a great VSO. So that's somewhat, again, basically this next 3 weeks is what it is. If we can just, as a group on your own, try to research of what you know, what you find out, what you think is important, what we need to really dive into. Because right now we have no game plan. This is the first meeting. We're all kind of just sitting here, at least I am anyway, going, all right, what do we really need to do and how are we going to do it? So we need to set ourselves some goals, some objectives, and then chart the path of how to get to them objectives to get it done so we can provide the services that the county has basically asked us to do. And anybody's got any ideas or anything like that? Yeah, there's positions, chairman, vice chairman, secretary. We're in this group together. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we're all chairman. We all have a voice. We all have different specialties, different knowledge that we can bring to the table. So I would solicit everybody to do that. So if everybody's in agreement on February 3rd at 6 o'clock, I guess we got to check to make sure that day's free. There's nothing.
Know of anything on that day, Mayor? I looked, I didn't see anything on the county calendar.
Are there any conflicts with the Thursday, the 6 o'clock?
I'll be out of town on the 3rd, but if you want me to go ahead and I can give you a little bit of what the Veteran Service Office, the officer does. That way, if I'm not there on the 3rd and everybody else wants that meeting, then you'll kind of have my ideas.
Are you going to be here on the 1st? What days in February are you going to be here?
Yeah, I'm leaving on the 3rd.
On the 3rd?
Yeah.
So we could do a Tuesday the 1st, February 1st. VFW's not going to have a meeting on that first Tuesday, are they? Even it's not until 7.
There's a steering committee at 6 o'clock that night.
Is there?
Yep, that's steering committee.
Are they going to be in the first Tuesday on the 1st?
And it doesn't have to be a Tuesday or Thursday. It could be a Wednesday as well, depending on whether y'all are church people on Wednesday night or not.
Again, that's all I asked that question. Is Wednesday out for everybody or is Wednesday good?
Wednesday, I'm not available.
Okay.
Tuesday and Thursday. We should be able to do it on Monday. We're going to be here for more than an hour.
On Monday, you mean, or?
Yeah. If we meet on Monday at 6 p.m.
The 31st Monday or the 1st? The 1st is a Tuesday of February.
Right.
The first Monday is the 7th. First Tuesday is the 1st. We already have the steering committee meeting at here at 6.
Yes, sir, at 6 o'clock.
What about the 31st of January on that Monday?
There's nothing.
We'll be able to see how about the 7th then on that Monday. So I think it's important that everybody that's here be able to, and we can work around that. That's 3.5 weeks from now, but again, that would also give us more time to diligently bring things we want to come to the meeting with.
I'll be back in town on the 7th of the evening. We'll be arriving back.
Like, should you be able to make it 6 o'clock?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I can schedule to do that.
February 7th, 1800 for us veterans.
So we're at Monday the 7th now?
Yes.
Okay. At 6?
Yes. I will try to see, I will see if we can get the VSO from Sumner County to come, give us a little insight. And maybe another night I'll have the VSO from Wilson County, see if they can come. Also get with some of the other, I'll get with some of the commanders like the Hendersonville Vfw, because that's believe it or not, they're a lot bigger than ours. We got left about 32 members in the VFW here in the county, I think. And percentage wise, we have more veterans show up to that than the Hendersonville Vfw that has 400 something members. They might have 30 show up on a night of a meeting. So we can also get all the other veterans here. Richard Johnson, David's in the hospital. Hopefully he'll be out by then. Chuck down here. Any other members of the American Legion too. Jeff, Dan, if you guys can touch base and have them come in. Because again, even though they're not a committee member, I think we need to hear from them.
Also, John Schoenberger had expressed interest in helping too. You can always reach out to him.
And I'll get with Mr. Gregory about getting an article in the paper announcing that we're going to have that meeting that night, to where it'll get out there, and veteran or not, but hopefully veterans are invited, but anybody can come to it regular. Because again, we got a lot of widows, and I think I believe, my personal opinion, we have an obligation to take care of the widows too. I don't care if it's, basically what we can do out of the funds of the VFW American Legion. The county probably can't do much with that, but they still have needs too to go. Do you have any widows come to you as a VSO, Amber?
So unfortunately, how I met a lot of people that knew about veterans whenever I first got this job was taking care of widows who had lost their spouse, and they had no clue what to do, whether or not they were going to lose their house, pay their bills. All they knew was that their husband was a veteran. They were going to be able to get his Social Security because, men's Social Security is higher than women's, so they allot them in the women to take over their spouses, but they didn't know what to do. And so, there's something called a widow's package and aid and attendance for them. Even if they want to go into a nursing facility and no longer be at home, then there's still money for them to go to facilities, which is some of these people that are the assisted living. I'm sure that they're still using widow's packages.
Okay.
Gary, you might want to consider setting aside a meeting into the future strictly as a roundtable type discussion where you do invite all the public in. Right. And it's set aside for them to have time to really speak and explore their thoughts on it. Right. As and that's part of the process.
Right. My next thing was our frequency. I guess it kind of depends on what information we got and how we need to get it out and what we need to do. If it's every 2 weeks, if it's twice a month, once a month, whatever it is, I think it's basically going to be dependent upon what we need to do and how long it takes to get whatever information we want to gather together. Because I know for a fact we're probably not going to get the number of veterans in the county, but all we can do is get the word out there that it's available. This is what we're going to do, whether it's here as a Trousdale County VSO or the MOU. So that's going to be important. Again, the first meeting is going to be kind of getting things together, setting our objectives, setting our agenda, what we want to do, what path we want to take. And that can change as we go. So the next meeting, we'll have all that, and then we'll be able to go from there and build from it. Anybody got any suggestions or anything else?
Might call for public comments. Any of you other guys want to say anything? Sure.
I'm not public, but if it's all right with the committee, I'll go ahead and explain a little bit. I know we mentioned the MOU, just give a little bit, kind of a high level of what that is. We contracted with the Veteran Service Officer in Sumner County, and we provided them office space at the administration building, which would be Debbie Jenkins' office. That's down from the mayor's office, which is going to be he or she, because it could be either one of them, will be in the county 2 days a month. The first day is going to be strictly set up for office visits, with hours being from 8:30 to 4. The first one was supposed to be on the 7th. However, we closed the county offices because of the weather. The next time she's going to be here, he or she is going to be here, is going to be the 21st. So it should be next week, I believe. Yeah, it'll be next week on a Friday. The second day they are in the county will be for outreach, and that means going out, meeting with people, meeting with veterans or their families, and give some of the examples of the outreach include going to TCAT Hartsville, American Job Center, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, funeral homes, and veteran services organizations, as well as other places. And then through these outreach activities and what they're doing from the interacting with veterans. I've asked that they send a monthly report to the mayor's office. It's due no later than the 15th of the month. That kind of wraps up what they've done, what kind of outreach they've done, and veteran contacts they've made. So that will be data we can share with the committee. And that was one of the main reasons going with the Sumner County, so they can generate some of this data. And some of the other things you've asked about, I've got a contact already at the Tennessee Department of Veteran Services. I can get their numbers from them, and the numbers I've got are a little bit old. I got them, I think, around September of last year, and they were old by that time. They were September of 2020. So I can see, we can ask the Sumner County VSO office if they've got any more up-to-date numbers for Trousdale County as well as the state. And also for the job description for the VSO, that was done as part of the compensation study. So it was turned in a few months ago. We've got that. And then also the pay for the VSO was part of the compensation study. So there's a recommended wage scale on that, as well as a market median. So we can provide that to the committee as well.
Do you have the date for the outreach?
The next date is going to be the 21st. And I believe we're kind of doing it on the 1st and 3rd Fridays. So the next one, the next one they're going to be here is the 21st, and that's going to be office hours. It was going to be outreach, but now it's going to be office hours, because she's going to come in, make sure we've got everything set up. We're providing her a computer and whatnot, and making sure we've got all that set up. And I do know she's already got appointments set up with veterans to do that. So I suspect the next one should be around February 4th. After that.
So the 21st will be in the office, but then maybe the 4th of February is when she's going to go out to different places in the county.
Well, we're going to see how, again, that put us off a little bit closing. So when she came on the 21st, I was going to see what kind of set schedule we're going to have. And again, I can share that information with the committee. And I did talk to her about, once we have an idea of what our hours are going to be and what day she's going to be here, we're going to make sure that we put that on the county's website and Facebook page and whatnot. And one of the things we're looking to do is put something in the newspaper, as you suggested, then also do maybe appearances on the radio and other things. But right now, I think if we can do like a short 30-second video or something, put that on Facebook, I see that gets really good returns. Maybe Facebook, something on Twitter, and some other social media.
All right, good deal. That'll help. I'll get with you. I'll call you sometime and take off work early and come down and talk to you about it and get some information from you. And then I guess the last thing is just get with Amber here, and your name, your email address, a phone number. I would primarily do it by email, but yeah, if we got to call somebody, we'll call each other. Y'all have my contact too. Write this down: 615-424-9509. Feel free anytime. If I don't answer it, just leave a quick message. I might be in a meeting at work or something like that, but I'll return it. Yes. 424-9509. 09. Anybody got anything else? Mayor, Chairman?
Certainly appreciate everyone coming out tonight. Sorry we didn't have a full house, but I'm sure this is something that will garner a lot of attention going forward, and it's very needed. Mr. Paxton, we do appreciate you being here tonight. Jeff, y'all, Dave, thank you for coming out. And certainly at any time you have any thoughts, please feel free to interject them.
With that being said, Mr. Paxton, have you seen a need for veterans during voting to get rides in or anything, or we can assist on that? It's kind of off track of a VSO, but
that's not something that I would necessarily track, but there's always a need for folks to get that. I do know when Dave Newberry was real sick, we actually went to him to vote, and the office could not get out of the car, so we were able to service in that way. So we try for anyone, veteran certainly. I would say advertising, every aspect. On social media. miss a lot of older veterans. It was down on the newspaper, so I would say you probably even need to get to the point where you make you some flyers and stick them up around the bank and stuff. But that is a question of common that we actually have here. VFW counts you as a veteran meeting certain criteria, but anybody who served should be counted as a veteran. Some veterans, like myself, have drawn a retirement check, some aren't. So that would be a source, to get up and say, how many checks you sent to Charlotte County, but it's not that's all. So you really need to cash your why to try to do a really valid number. And that's why you're getting such distinctly different numbers, is because different groups count different people as veterans.
One will cast a wider net versus a smaller net and capture the 700 versus the other one be 400. But again, I think it's important that we try to narrow it down or at least narrow the gap. But again, I believe that the veteran wants services, they're going to seek them out, but they got to be aware they're available too. Most of us know that, but how many people were discharged was told about anything? If you had any kind of ailment, go get it looked at. If they give you 0%, they give you 0%. And then 20 years later, if it becomes an issue and they give you 20% on that, then you get back pay. I wasn't told that. So there's a lot of things that we need to get out from a BSO standpoint to the veterans community, that this is available to you and we can help you get that way. So, or get that help.
And I actually didn't know, I didn't know a VSO existed or what they were, what they did, nothing, until I became one. And so, and it is a completely different light than what even I knew that it was going to be. So, but as far as what the state records from their numbers, it's going to be the veterans that have claims. So that's where that number is going to be the VE. So it's going to be hard.
One thing I ask you to, Amber, if you can bring with you all the necessary training that was required to be a VSO that you had, which I know is extensive, and how often, and because you have to be certified in order to recommend and tell a veteran certain things. Because if you're not certified and you tell them the wrong thing, it kicks back on you. We had that issue with the VFW. I know Dan probably have the American Legion. We have a service officer in the VFW, but he's really not a service officer. Because he can just guide you to the service office people. He can't really give you guidance or direction or help you really do anything. So if you can bring that as part of it, to where we know if we do decide to go the route of a VSO in Trousdale County, what all the required training is going to be and what costs that might incur to the county.
This paperwork that you have to fill out for a lot of these things, I'm sure you're familiar with it, it doesn't look difficult, but with the federal government, if you leave it blank, they send it back. And you should put a 0, or you should put a dash, or you should put an NA, or, so those are the type of little things that the VSO has to be on top of to make sure that the paperwork is filled out properly, is sent to the right channels, to the right people, and know who to check with. And so there's a lot of little nuances that have to be learned in this job. And I think what we're seeing, and I know we're seeing this, that everything that has anything to do with government at the federal or state level is much, much more complicated than it ever has been in times past. And they're, I don't know, it seems like a little less lenient for forgiveness. I'll just say that. They want it right to begin with. And so those are all of the things that a lot of people don't understand the necessity. Well, why can't they fill out their own? Well, they can, but it's probably not going to be approved if it's not done properly.
Services.
So that's the type of issues that office has to deal with, that is going to be more and more complicated, I think, as we go forward. The other thing, like I said initially, there are monies that I'm seeing coming, and our state legislature has, I think there was 46 veterans bills, and 5 were withdrew and 41 passed in some form or another last session. You know, we'll know in another couple of weeks how many are presented this time, but they've been very good about taking care, at least in the last few years, if not always, but I would say for sure in the last few years of trying to take care of veterans. So there are some monies available also from the state. I mean, for a long time, it was just seemed to be all federal, but there are some monies that are flowing through the state now.
Mayor, do you have anything?
No, I was just going to agree with what Mr. Commissioner Jewell has said. A lot of things, you used to get grant money. It was, here's grant money and you can figure out how to spend it. Now it's, we're going to give you a grant, but it's reimbursement. You got to spend yours first and submit back all this paperwork before we even verify we're going to give it to you. So they have tightened the strings on a lot of things. And like you said, it's very document intensive now. So you definitely got to go through a lot of training to get it, because they have just a finite amount of funds. And so that's why they've tightened it up so much. They want to make sure that whoever they give it to has met the eligibility requirements. And that's why if you make any little mistake, it really hurts you.
Okay. And before I entertain a motion to adjourn here, just when we give the information to Amber, if you don't really want that out there, please say so. I got no issue with my stuff going out there. If you can get it all together, Amber, and then send out a blast of everybody's information, their email and phone numbers. That way everybody's got people's names, their phone number, everything.
Amy probably has almost everybody that's on the committee. So you might just check and see what she does have or what's lacking, or just verify it.
Yes.
Right.
Yep. Get what's here right now, and then we can get with Amy and verify it and go from there. That's all I got.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Second it. All in favor? Aye. Thank you for your attendance.
Amber, are you going to do the minutes for this meeting? Yeah. Thank you.